Hey everyone, it's your pal Nidoking, back with more Control. And this time, we're going to be finishing up our jaunt through what I like to call Sidequest Hell. We've only got a couple of objectives left to do before we're done with all the side quests that are currently available, so let's take the time out to fight some random hiss in the research sector. I've got a countermeasure active to kill hiss rangers with abilities, but for some reason it seems to trigger when I just shoot them. There was also a fascinatingly close look at a hiss distorted, the kind you don't normally get to see. And I guess I just killed it in one blast there. Not gonna complain. I'm getting stronger. That's pretty much how the game goes. We've got 3 mold hosts to deal with in the Ritual Division, and they're all going to be in kind of out-of-the-way spots. Like the bathroom that you pretty much forget exists after you discover there's nothing in it. Strangely enough, it doesn't give me credit towards the quest for seizing this one. Normally, if you've got a mission to kill a certain number of a certain type of enemy, seizing them works, but in this case, I guess, because he's still alive, even though he's my friend, he doesn't count as dead, and there's a lot of mold piled up outside the Synchronicity Lab, so clearly there's another mold host in here. We'll just follow the trail up, and there he is. Not making the mistake of seizing this one. Also not dealing with the Newton's Cradles right now. We've had our fun. Let's get back out into the Ritual Division proper. Would have been a lot cooler if I had gone through the doors instead of just smacking into them, but I noticed there's this weird mark in the middle of the screen there. It looks kind of like a shotgun with a targeting cursor under it. I did eventually figure out what that is. That's just part of the graphics of the game that didn't get drawn over because there was so much smoke going around from something that I had done. Good to know, and it doesn't actually mean anything. Meanwhile, the third and final mold host here is up in the ritual office. I will never remember that I have to hit the button behind me to ride this elevator every time. Really doesn't make a lot of sense. But I know the guy's coming up. Let me grab a weapon. And I think I managed to smack him with it while I was walking through the door and take off most of his health. Whatever works. It's also kinda disturbing to discover that my seize ability has perhaps been upgraded too much, as this mold host is still walking around and still hasn't really lost an appreciable amount of health. Sorry, friend. I needed the quest completion. So that's done with. We just have to get back to Parapsychology and find the 3 hosts there. And then, that'll be it. We'll just have a couple of loose ends to tie up among the things that I didn't do while I was doing all the other side quests. See, there again, what ability did I possibly use to kill a Hiss Ranger? I've just been shooting them. And I think I may have killed one with launch and didn't get credit for it. I wonder if maybe the mission says use abilities, but it actually means without using abilities. Anyway, I couldn't really see most of what was going on there, but I finished the fight, so let's get down to Parapsychology. This is a pretty big department, so I'm sure they'll be fairly spread out. I'm going to head up into Parapsychology proper, because this is kind of at the center of everything, and also I want to see whether I can build anything up. This is the start of a new session, so I didn't remember whether maybe I had enough materials to do something. Nothing up here, but I can see a bunch of mold over there on the wall in Parakinesiology. That's clearly somewhere we're going to have to go eventually. And there's more mold over by the extrasensory lab. Nothing in hypnosis. I think there would have been mold near the doors if there had been. Just like there is across the way. Yeah, but it'll be over here in the offices rather than in the lab itself. And there we go. And I realized that seizing it was a mistake. Because again, I'm going to have to kill it. I think. Maybe it'll follow me. It's not going to follow me. And also, I'm a terrible shot. But alright, 1 down, 2 to go. I'm gonna have to head up toward the astral exhibition for the other 2. And there we go, right across from us. Hit it with all 3 charge blasts. There's nothing left of it. As my old Shadowrun group would have said, chunky salsa. Well, everybody in the group except me, because I made a character with such high defense that I could basically shrug off a nuclear blast with just a little dent in my armor. Got a funny story about that, actually, but take this guy out first.
I think that's the last one. I should let Underhill know.
I don't see any reason not to tell that story here, because there's not a lot left to do. But I'll probably save it because I know there's a much less interesting area coming up. And we have even more hiss. Kind of surprised. I've been in this room 3 times and there have been hiss all 3. Usually they give you at least a little while to recover. But we're seeing rangers who seem to not give me credit for killing them with abilities when I use abilities to kill them. And plenty of hiss elevated. I think I only need to kill 1 more of them with launch to get the credit for that mission. Alright, well that's 1 done. I'm really feeling the lack of multi-launch at this point, as there are so many grenades lying around. I would love to be able to pick them all up and throw them back at once. Yep. That's my friend orb. I don't need to hurt my friend orb. There's so many enemies here. And see, that ranger didn't give me credit for killing him. I really don't know what's going on with that mission. Anyway, it's a short fall to Underhill now. Ironically, the ability that makes you fall slower makes the trip down faster.
hungry. You hungry, Steve?
Not funny, man.
I found the hosts. They won't be spreading any more mold.
Well done. I'll send burn teams to sanitize the locations. I'm beginning to wonder if these hosts are originating outside the threshold in independent patches of mold growth.
You don't sound very optimistic.
Optimism is for farmers, as my mother always said. I suppose you could now return to that hiss business you all seem so concerned about.
This woman has some incredible tunnel vision.
And nothing new to say, of course.
Thanks for the information.
My pleasure.
I was kind of hoping. People usually do get new dialogue at certain plot points, but we talked to her pretty recently and nothing plot-worthy has happened since. We just finished her character arc, I guess. Anyway, I've done all the exploring in here that I really care to. So, back to the control point. Cash in that countermeasure that I just completed. There we go. And there's a check on the other one too, so... Wait, that was not one that I had completed. I just abandoned it. Ah well. That's what happens when you don't play the game for too long. Anyway, I'm heading to the Quarry, so I'll try to get some headshots with Pierce. And I'll be going to containment after that, so killing demolition experts with charge seems manageable. Not going to be back in research for a while, and particularly having to kill snipers with Pierce, not happening. I've got my ability points that I could spend, but I really don't think there's any upgrade that would be worth it. Maybe shield rush damage, but I think I'm probably better off saving up my ability points for the multi-launch ability. So in the meantime, avert your eyes if you have problems with flashing lights, because we're going to be in the Quarry for a long time, and there are lots of astral spikes around. I heard somebody here. There should be hiss around, or maybe it's just making that noise because the astral spikes are there. It's kind of nice not having to navigate this entire path to get to the Quarry. But I started to come in here before, ended up going back to the furnace chamber, and then just never came back here to look around. So, with levitation, you've got pretty much the most flexibility you'll ever have for navigating around the Quarry easily. And you can find little hidden chambers like this one. Admittedly, I put chambers in plural, as if there's more than one. I think this may well be the only actually hidden thing in the chamber left to find. The rest of it's pretty much just being able to get up to these upper ledges without having to find things to climb on. And I don't think I managed to hit the hiss cluster either of those times. And now I'm hitting the edge of the platform that I'm standing on. The graphics just kind of don't make a lot of sense. But I am scoring headshots. I didn't know that that was possible with Pierce, or at least I had a lot of trouble with it back when I was trying to just get headshots in Executive. But I guess it's possible, and I have to do it 9 more times. Would kinda like to capture a hiss cluster, because I'm low on health. This is also probably the worst place to try to kill enemies, because the astral spikes are going to do it for me. It is kind of neat, though, watching the hiss running around trying to fight the astral spike. It's a very one-sided fight. Only one of those sides even has the capability to take damage. But as long as they're not paying attention to me, I can just pick them off from here. Ideally with headshots. No, this may not be effective enough. I'm too far away from everything. Maybe I can get a bit closer, or skirt around the edge of the quarry a little bit. And I know it's possible to headshot hiss charged, but it's hard to tell where to shoot them. So we can actually get up to that big elevator door that we saw previously. Doesn't really help us though, because we still can't get it open. And I think this is the topmost level you can actually walk on. I guess there is one higher level, but there's an invisible wall around the outside edge somewhere. I think over here, if I stand on top of this pile of rocks, I can get to the top of that ledge over here. And yeah, she won't pull herself up. You can't get up there no matter what you do. I guess it's kind of interesting. You can see the city in the background that they were talking about. And the whole idea that this place looks like it's open to the outside, but it is actually completely an enclosed space. There is a ceiling, and this is as high as I can go. So, in addition to the invisible walls, there's an invisible ceiling. And even though it shows a targeting cursor on that ledge, I can't fly over to it. I sort of ignored a lot of stuff on the way over here. Another one-way door. That one, at least, I know where the far side of it is. Obviously, it's not somewhere we've been. And I'm guessing all the hiss are dead now, because I don't hear their music anymore. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in all the rubble and construction equipment. I almost think it might be interesting if this crane were to come alive and attack me, but that's a different Remedy game. We'll talk about that one at some point. I think I've been under here. This is another spot where it looks like you should be able to get on top of the rocks, but you can't. And we're almost all the way back to the elevator door now. Hey, more hiss. So at least it wasn't a complete waste of time. I can't tell if I'm hitting them or not. And I also can't tell whether they're shooting at me or at the hiss cluster. They're the astral spikes. I mean, honestly, keeping the hiss cluster alive might be a good idea. Because with a headshot, I can probably one-shot most of these enemies. And if I don't score a headshot, then I don't want them dying, because then I can't shoot them in the head. But I have a feeling I'm just not going to be able to snipe them very effectively. Oh, hey, here's something new. I don't think I ever found this before. weird. I don't think you even need levitation to get up there. Alright, I hit him, but I guess it wasn't in the head. That or maybe Pierce spreads a little bit at really, really long range. I've probably actually been in here before. There's nothing there. So we got all these dark tunnels. Excuse me. I guess the Hiss aren't as captivated by the astral spikes as I was hoping they'd be. And yeah, I know, I just kind of didn't notice that that astral spike was right next to me. Like I said, first video of a new session. So let's try that again, with a little bit less going into places where all the enemies are really far away from me. Most of these, I'm convinced, should be headshots. I mean, that one, the gun just fired by itself. You can only hold it for so long. And guys with shields I'm not going to be able to kill with headshots. I can't even see a head through the smoke there. But I gotta get to him before the astral spike does. This guy ought to be easy to hit in the head. So making some progress at least. Yeah, that other one's dead, so I don't know where there might be another hiss. I don't think it keeps the music going just because there's an astral spike nearby. But I mean, this is pretty much what I've got planned for the video. There's one other thing I got to do at the end. And while I'm thinking about it, there are some things out in the middle of the quarry. You don't strictly need levitation to get these. I think it's possible to do it just by evading across these platforms. But good luck. I've tried it. I've never succeeded. And for the prize of a threshold remnant, it's not worth it. I don't think there's anything else out here. I believe it's possible to get to the top of these other pillars. I just can't do it from down here. It'd have to be higher up. And I don't think there's anything to be found at the top of any of them. So, honestly, I think that is the quarry. As much as we possibly ever need to explore it. We've got a one-way door leading into it, and we've got a restricted area leading out of it that we can't get to. Those are the only reasons we're going to be back. And here are more enemies. See if I can score some headshots off the hiss charged. I'm inclined to say probably not. Especially since, again, they're going straight for the astral spikes and exploding on impact. And I'm not dying the same way again. I'm just gonna try to get my headshots some other time.
Fuck, if they're in there, we go around that way. No.
Kinda want to see whether anyone has anything new to say at this point. But the reason that I came back here is that there is that chest way up on top of this pillar that I wasn't able to get. Someone in the thread mentioned that you really do just have to stand on top of one of these floating people. But their placement and orientation seems to be kind of random, so there may or may not be a person you can stand on. This time there certainly was. And it's hard to read against the white there, but it was a house memory. All that, and the requirement to use a late-game power-up in an unintuitive way for a house memory. Alright. And there's nothing up there even if I could levitate into it. Which I can't.
Didn't give me any orders before she left. Guess I'll just keep managing inventory.
Yep, you do that, buddy. I've got one more thing that I need to manage here. And I did think maybe there was a mold-filled room back in maintenance that I had missed. Turns out that there was not, and I didn't even score any headshots while looking for it. So the last thing that I needed to do, I went back to the P6 cell with level 6 clearance and levitation. Oh, hey, it's the ramen lantern. Might as well take a quick look around, see if any of the other AIs that I wrangled are here. Yep, there's the flamingo. And if we went back to most of the empty cells, we would find altered items in them at this point. But I'm not going to waste time doing that now. I guess if there's one that anybody really wants to see, I can go back and check it out sometime. But for now, we're heading back to Dylan's cell, because there was a door there that I could have opened and completely missed. And also because interesting things usually happen when you go back into the P6 cell. If I see any demolition experts here, I want to kill them with charge. Could be a tall order, but I think I'm up to the challenge. I remember having a mission once to kill Hiss snipers in the containment sector using Shatter. Don't think I had a lot of luck with that one. I think all of these cells were occupied the first time through. Yeah, there's the crowbar. Alright, I came this far when I was doing my re-exploration and then left this hallway without going in. So there's the locked door just on the other side of the office. We have to come through the control room to get to it. Nothing appears to be going on in there. Our rewards actually aren't too bad. But let's check out the room itself. Of course, I already had levitation my first time here. Mostly I just want to see if there are going to be any demolition experts among the random hiss that appear. And at first glance, this guy's name actually looks like a proper name, like Trooper Lieutenant Salasti. And it might be a Finnish name, but I'm pretty sure that that's actually just an ID made up of 5s and 4s that look like letters. And there are snipers here. It seems to be the place in containment where snipers appear most often. So if you've got a mission to kill them, this is where you want to come. Oh, I can seize a distorted. That's always good. They're super strong. And now to deal with those snipers. Or perhaps just to evade some more charge that are coming at me. And another Hiss Distorted. That's not my friend, that's a new one. Can't tell. See you next time, everyone.